Hello, everybody, and welcome to the United Stand. We're here to discuss all sorts of things today. We've got the presser comments that we're going to all go through together. We've got possible leaks that have come out from the club that I think everyone has seen this morning, and we're going to let Jay have a little bit of a word on that. And then we're going to get into a little bit of transfer news as well that's come out. But first of all, Adam, how are you? Thanks for being on the show.
I'm good, Beth. Thanks. I've had a decent sleep now and a chance to get over the nightmare that was the other night. So, yeah, a lot better than what I was yesterday. Thank you for asking.
Of course, always got to check that the guests are all right. Jay, how are you?
I'm good. Just back from 2 hours in the wind and rain. So, no shower, just literally hoodie on and straight on here with you guys. So, can't wait. That's called dedication. Something our players would know nothing about, but that's another story.
You're not going to go moan about that, are you, Jay? Unlike some people. But anyway, starting off with the presser, Rangnick, there wasn't too many questions, wasn't too much information to get into. But what we have got, we can go through, and it's kind of nice to see a manager just saying it how it is, because we're so used to not having that. So when he comes into the press conference, it's always worth going and looking at what he said, because usually it's something of decency and something you can really look into. But first of all, what Rangnick said, Adam, is that he's been saying that we haven't had much time on the training ground, and he isn't happy with the amount of improvement that's happened. He said always a coach wants to make progress, and he's not made as much progress as he would have liked. He hasn't had as much training sessions as he would have liked, only a few bits. And the last 3 days is where he's only really got back to full strength. Do you think this training ground being shut down, obviously with not enough training, do you think that is an excuse for the Newcastle game, or do you think he's just kind of trying to cover up the fact that these players, he's not really been able to get through to these players yet?
I think he's doing his manager's job, Beth, in terms of deflecting, doing what a proper manager would do. He's being honest and saying it as it is, but at the same time, he's being clever and deflecting away from what we all know was an absolute shit show against Newcastle. I do think he needs more time with him. He's not going to get that. But we said that anyway when he came in. When someone comes in January, you're not going to get it. Problem he's got is what Conte's done with Spurs. And Spurs are a worse squad. They're a worse team. They're in a lot worse place than what we were. And look what Conte's got through now a few weeks in. So let's be honest. It's going to take to catch up to where Conte started clicking things together for Spurs. He's probably a week or two away from that now. So I'm guessing we're going to see more. I would hope to see more in January, to be honest, of what a Ralph team plays like. The players, they shouldn't be covered up for. They don't deserve to be covered up for by the manager. But we've got a real manager in place now. He knows how to speak to the press. Like you said, Beth, he speaks clearly, he clicks honestly, and says it as it is. And for me, it's still a breath of fresh air. The only people that need to click on and catch up with the times is this squad. So in terms of the manager and what he said, agree with everything he said. I will get into more of that now. But yeah, I think he's just doing what good managers do, Beth. He's being honest. He's saying it as it is. And he's slightly protecting the players. But he's got to do that as well, because later on in this show, we'll talk about why.
Exactly. And Jay, he went on to say that the last 3 days that he did have full training and full squad back, that they were really good training sessions, and therefore it was a bit of a surprise when it came to the Newcastle game regarding the lack of speed, the tempo and the physicality. I mean, basically going in on all aspects of the game there, and I agree with him. I think it was completely off in all those aspects. Do you then do you think he's saying that because he expects a bounce back in all them areas against the Burnley game? And do you think in the Burnley game the players that play have to show up and have to prove that they have got that as part of their game?
Look, we all know that Ralph is a very intelligent and astute human being and a very, very smart manager. So he saw after Crystal Palace game a half hour of pressing, and the lads were out on their feet. They were like a boxer in the 10th round of a fight that's just trying to get through the 12 rounds, because they're out on their feet. So he knows that he cannot get that team that's not fit, because we know why they're not fit, but we're going to that at the end of the show. So he has to deflect. He has to say limited time in the training ground, blah, blah, blah. But the 3 days that he had with them, I've got no doubt that it was high-intensity training. It was training methods that they're clearly not accustomed to. And I said on the show, my post-match, that I believe the players had not recovered from the intensity of the training. and it was manifest on the pitch. And he has called that out. He won't name and shame a particular player because no good manager does that apart from Jose. But he will allude to standards are not what he requires. And the key word he uses in all his press conferences is physicality. I know Ricky says it as well, but in a different context. But the players simply are not physical enough. They are not giving him the physical requirements that he looks for and wants. And it's been manifested in every single game. And he's called them out, and rightly so. And that's what a good manager should do.
Exactly. I completely agree with you. I think it's one of them where, I mean, we saw at Crystal Palace, like you said, and you're completely dead on. You had that probably like the only 30 minutes under Ralph that we've seen the proper style that I think he wants to go with going forward, and the players are absolutely knackered. I think this just shows such a lack of fitness, especially for a top club. I mean, you look at all the clubs in the league, how much running they do, how much covering they do for each other, and you just don't see the same with Manchester United. So I think he's got a massive task on his hands, and getting into the comments later on about maybe the lack of training that they were actually having maybe previously and why they're complaining now, I think that shows why. But Varane got a lot of stick for the Newcastle game, and Rangnick went on to admit that he did make a mistake, but he also said he's not played for 5 or 6 weeks, and even before the Tottenham game he was injured. So I mean, you can't really make excuses, but in that sense you can. He's rusty, he's not game fit, and Rangnick wanted to get him in as soon as he could to get back used to the game, and he is going to make mistakes. But he also went on to say, which I think, Adam, is really telling and something that the old manager wouldn't do. I don't want to keep going back to him, but it just shows how honest he is. He said that none of the centre-halves were outstanding, and it was the same with Harry Maguire. So he's basically calling Harry Maguire's game out there during a question about Varane and saying he was just as much to blame as Varane, who keeps getting the stick.
Yeah, Varane shouldn't be getting any stick. It's ridiculous, man. How people go in on it because he made the mistake, but let's be honest, it wasn't like it was any other player making mistakes, was it? I mean, Maguire set the tone for the game. If it wasn't, I think, you know what it's like at Newcastle. I've been there a few times now. You can absolutely annihilate them if you keep that crowd quiet. First thing Maguire does is miscontrol the ball, hit a horrible pass, and he sets a tone. He set the tone. He got the crowd up, and every time the ball went to Maguire, it was like the old school goalkeeper going to take a goal kick. It's like, whoa. Every time the ball went to Maguire because they knew and they fed off it. It's embarrassing. This is our captain, and the Geordies, credit to them, latched onto it after 10 seconds, Beth. And that's Harry Maguire. And that literally set the tone for the whole of the first half. And then we couldn't recover. That's what it was. And he's right to bring out. I'm really happy that Ralph's talked about players, all the players, not just in. I mean, you can pick out individuals, yeah, but the defense is the defense. This is what I always said with the keeper as well. De Gea, fullbacks, centre backs, they're all one. They have to work as a unit. So you can't call out one. You have to bring in the others. And that little mistake that he made early doors, and he's done that so many times this season, Beth. So many times.
It's a game. I get nervous when it goes back to him. I'm like,
literally.
Oh, no.
Someone, I think it was Graham, one of the fan vloggers, was stood next to me.
Yeah.
And he says, why do we always do this diagonal from a kickoff? And I went, you know why, mate? It's because they don't want to pass it backwards and invite the other team on. We need to get through 10 minutes of a game and look at the games that we've gone behind early on. And it's been crap away games that we've done it. I think conceding an early goal in the first half, like Watford, Southampton, do you know what I mean? And it's hard for us to come back. We've always struggled to actually get back in a game, and we've probably scraped a draw or maybe scraped a win in times. But that then, and he said to me, so why are we going so long and diagonal? It's just so we can just pick up the second ball maybe or do something like that. I agree with it because there's no way that this team is fit to start a game and start passing out around the back. The further upfield it is from the start, the better it is for us. That tells you everything you need to know about Rangnick's confidence with the defence at the moment, because that's his words. That's what he's told them to do. You know what I mean?
We lose that ball as well. That actually does get buoyed up diagonally, and we lose the ball, and then straight away there's an attack on us. But that's how nervous they are. Clearly,
it is that. You know what?
It's not all right.
Arteta struggled with that, Beth. He did, didn't he? I mean, you said it. Then it's like he struggled to manage games through the middle. There's a tough spell in a game where sometimes, look, go long. bypass that midfield and pick up second balls, play some simple football.
Exactly. I think it shows as well how kind of poor our players are at dealing with playing through the press. And we've seen that time and time again. A lot of them players cannot deal with being pressed. And in the Premier League, especially at the top end of the Premier League, that's one of the basics of football that you need. When you look at the top of the table, all of the teams that are doing well in the league have players that can dribble through the press, they can pass through the press, and they're comfortable on the ball. Something that we often are seeing a lack of with Manchester United. Just before we move on to the rest of the presser comments, Jay, he's recalled Eric Bailly from the airport. We've heard that Eric Bailly is coming back for the Burnley game. Do you think that he might actually drop Maguire, or do you think it is going to be Varane that misses out? Because surely if he's calling back, it's to have game time.
I think he's brought him back primarily for cover because Lindelof is out on the COVID protocols. My fear is that we're going to see Varane and Maguire again today, and Bailly there's cover. In an ideal world, I think we all want to see the Bailly Varane partnership. I know we're going to go in later on to the leaks to the club, but I'm beginning to think now, does Maguire have it in his contract that as long as he's captain, he can't be dropped? Just put it out there. And I'm delighted you said there, Adam, about second balls. Like, I hate to quote them, but Man City and Liverpool, their success is predicated on how many second balls they win each and every game. The amount of second balls we win in a game, you count them literally in one hand. It's abysmal. And this isn't just on a Rangnick, it was under Ole. The last time where I saw us as a team win second balls consistently was under Jose, because Jose wouldn't stand for it. But with Ole, it was like, oh, it's okay, lads. You get a free pass. We get a moment from we get a moment from Bruno. We get a moment from Rashford. And Rashford was in form, and we get a 1-0. But fighting for second balls, these players don't know how. And there's a comment here as well. Sorry, from Ralph. He says our problem that we allow too many transitional moments. Again, losing midfield battles. This is not only the problem of the centre backs; it's the problem of the whole team. It starts up front. The role of the number 10. In that kind of formation. Now, we all know in the first half against Newcastle, Bruno had a stinker. Second half, he was okay because he was playing back in the midfield. So maybe today, Ralph would simply play Bruno, possibly in the midfield. Sorry, I can't play Bruno today. I'm losing my train of thought. So today, I think today he's going to play Matic and Donny in that midfield. So we actually do have some transition. The question is then, who do you play as 10? Lingard? Come on. So Ralph's job is a lot bigger than what he even anticipated in his worst nightmares. And it was manifest against Newcastle.
Exactly. And it's when he speaks about them transitional moments, Adam, and defending from the front, do you think that the players at the front are working hard enough? And do you think in that press conference, by saying, I don't want to speak about individuals, we need to perform better as a team, and that it comes from the front and about the number 10s not closing down enough transitional moments, do you think that is him basically saying that you need to work harder at the front of the team?
Well, this is it. I mentioned Spurs before, Beth, with Conte, and it's been well documented now that as a whole team, they, before Conte, covered 100k. Now it's 120. He's been there just over a month, Beth. He's making them work hard. And look what happens when you work hard with quality players. It's a blueprint that Liverpool and City have been setting for the last half decade. You know what I mean? We're too arrogant to implement it because we're Manchester United. That's what comes across to me at the moment. These players walk on the pitch and think, red shirt on, Newcastle. Nah. I'll tell you something. Last 3 times I've been to Newcastle, I've seen 1 goal and a draw. The rest have been defeats. I've not seen anything. And we've got no God-given right to turn up. You're right. It has to be as a team. There's no cohesion. They don't move together. And like you said, like Jay said, it's going to be it's a massively, massively difficult task for him because he has to get them all working in the same direction. And right now, we're in a flux of players wanting out, unrest behind the scenes. And not everyone is on board with their club itself, never mind what's going on the training ground. So, yeah, he has got a nightmare task on his hands, but I'd rather it be him dissecting it because, like I've said, I think the last 2 shows, I think I said it in my fan blog at Newcastle, he's going upstairs. Ralph's not bothered. He's going to shine the spotlight on every single one of these players and say, look, if you're not doing it the way we want it doing, then you're out of the door. It's as simple as that. Times are changing, and it's up to the players now. And this is probably it's sort of it's short-term loss for long-term gain, isn't it? Because right now he's digging players out, and it's painful for us as fans because I'm getting bantered like hell from City fans and Liverpool fans at the moment. I'm getting it so badly, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh, just give me a game that goes well, just so I can have a week off. That's all I'm praying. And you know what? I'll say as much about Burnley tomorrow night. It's just like, let's show a little bit of something. Let's show something as a team, as one. Give me a moment in a game where I can see something that's been worked on, and I can see it on the pitch. It's like I'm not seeing any of that. And like you said, it has to come as a full team, Beth, because individuals we've seen take you so far, a la Ole. Now we're going to have to go with a different tack altogether because transition of play, like you said, I want Matic and Donny in that midfield. I've wanted them in that midfield role from the start of the season. And for me, you need someone on the ball who can control it. Fred and McTominay, we've seen the passing yesterday against Newcastle. That is not their strong point. And for me, it needs people who are confident on the ball and don't get scared if they make a mistake. It's like Bobby Charlton. So Bobby Charlton always said it, and my granddad always said it to me, never be afraid to miss. And go back and do exactly the same thing again. Don't be afraid. You're wearing that United shirt. You can't be afraid. Remember Roy Keane throttling Rio Ferdinand for playing a side pass in a training game. So you don't do that at Manchester United. If you play the ball forward and it gets lost, we will win it back for you. That's what we do at Manchester United. But the whole team do it. We don't at the moment, and that is the big problem, Beth.
How times have changed, and honestly, the banter is bad. I live with a City fan. My stepdad's a City fan, so I'm getting it badly at the minute. It's awful. But anyway, moving on to a guy that actually does possess the qualities to be a Manchester United player, and probably one of the only ones I can see standing out at the minute. He oozes professionalism. Edinson Cavani, Rangnick was speaking about him, Jay, and he said that actually in the past 2 days he was debating playing him from the start, but Cavani said he didn't feel comfortable playing from the start because he wants to look after his injury and he wants to make sure he's fully fit. The fact that Ralph was going to play him from the start shows that he's definitely in Ralph's plans. Ralph clearly rates him, and we know every man. Well, Solskjaer said it himself. He trains like the ultimate professional. He is the ultimate professional. Solskjaer said it was the best training session he's ever seen. I mean, I don't know how much he has potentially seen in his career, but Cavani is the ultimate professional. He has to start every game. Do you think that Cavani, I think he is going to start against Burnley, and who do you think drops out for Cavani? And do you think it's good for us knowing that Ralph really does rate Cavani, and that possibly means he won't be leaving in January?
I hope and pray that Edinson Cavani doesn't leave in January. I'm a massive fan of Cavani, have been his entire career. There's another one here from Ralph. He said, being 1-0 down at half time, it was clear we needed to take some more risks and change something. That's why we decided to bring on Cavani and Sancho. And I know there was a lot of crap on Twitter. Oh, Cavani wasn't that great. He missed 3 chances. Yeah, but because Cavani's on the pitch, we scored and got a point that we didn't deserve. So I'm all up for the combined strike partnership of 70 years of age, Ronnie and Cavani. Bring it on. And as long as both of them are fit, play them as much as you possibly can within reason. Who drops out? It's obvious. Rashford cannot start today. Rashford shouldn't have started the last 3 or 4 games. He has been absolutely abysmal. He's been a shadow of the Rashford that his career is predicated on. And Andy Mitten, I listened to him on his podcast. It was Rashford and Adam, you can correct me in this as well because you were at the Ashley game. It was Rashford and Ronaldo that went down the tunnel early and didn't help the friends, not Ronaldo and Bruno, which Gary Neville will have you believe in Sky Sports. So Rashford, for me, he can drop out for a month or 6 weeks, go on a holiday for himself.
Jay, just so you are aware when you don't tune in tonight and you don't get ready for the fan forum, the game is tomorrow, just to let you know.
I'm still recovering from a training spin, okay?
I was just like, I hope he doesn't tune into the fan forum tonight, thinking it's tonight.
I tell you what,
yeah, but you know what I mean.
You'll have a good day, Jay. There'll be nothing to moan about tonight because there's no game.
Yeah,
I know,
well,
exactly.
I'm actually glad. I'm glad. I need a night off.
You've got another 24 hours to prepare and to get yourself ready to
so
watch.
I've got another 24 hours to go on the therapy stand with you guys after we'd drawn 1-1 Burnley. Incidentally, Burnley had drawn their last 4 out of their 5 games. Think about that.
And they'll probably end up beating us 1-0. I don't want to be negative. I'm always positive on here.
Don't be, because their record at Old Trafford is very good.
Oh, don't honestly. We'll have another Burnley meme coming through. It's just going to be.
God.
But Adam, just to finish up on the presser, obviously he said, like Jay just said then, that he brought on Cavani and Jadon to give us something extra and change the game and make it more attacking and give us them chances. It clearly did work. Do you think that this means that the players that came on and influenced the game and made us play better football, gave us more chances, deserve to start? And do you agree with Jay that it is going to be Rashford that drops out? And do you think possibly you're going to see Jadon and Donny start in them 10 roles now Bruno's out?
I can see Donny coming into this game simply because of the substitutions that Rangnick has made over the last couple of games. He's always come on for Bruno. It's been the same every time. But you know, I was thinking about it after yesterday's show, and I'm thinking, how do we do it now? Bruno's out, so there's an opportunity. But we just know with a player like Bruno, we can't get too excited about this change because Bruno pretty much picks himself. And he's not playing well. I'm not saying he's playing well, but he's that type of player that when you know he's going to come in.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing, like Jay said then, the Cavani Ronaldo up top. I wouldn't mind seeing Sancho and Greenwood behind them. I wouldn't be. And I'd play Donny and Matic in the next 2. I
agree with that.
Yeah, that's what I wouldn't mind seeing because I know Ronaldo is one type of player that you can look at as a young player and learn off, but he isn't a Cavani. A Cavani will mentor you through a game. He will constantly talk to you. And some of Greenwood's best performances have been, I remember the Spurs game last season away from home. Cavani, Greenwood. Cavani loves Greenwood. It's well documented. I'd love to see him back on the pitch with him again because you know what? And Ronaldo would feed off that. He's just infectious. That's what Cavani is. He's a positive player, and he's always. And I've seen him apologising to Ronaldo when he tried to flick that ball. I think when Dubravka dropped it and was trying to spin it back out to the edge of the box, Cavani did a sort of half chip, half pass to Ronaldo, and straight away he was explaining to him what he was doing. And that's how infectious Cavani can be. He can feed off his positivity, and I think that is going to help. I would love. Sancho has to start.
He has such a good relationship with Greenwood as well, Cavani. They play really well together.
Exactly that bit. And I want to see that because then I'll know that Greenwood, I think, will find the game easier. I think he'll find a bit more space, actually. And we know he can shoot with both feet and he can be central and wide because we know that they interchange these positions. So for me, you sort of, yes, you've got 3 strikers on the pitch there and 1 winger, but we know how that can fluctuate and interchange. And then obviously you've got Dalot and Telles coming up. But I just feel like the control of Matic and Donny, then you've got the hold-up play of Cavani with the likes of Greenwood spinning off. And you know Ronaldo will feed off Cavani more. We've seen that at Spurs this season, how good they play together. So I just think that's how I would go into it. And I do think that would be a way to look forward. But I'm scared about what you said, Beth, that players are going to automatically come back in again. Just because of name. I'm hoping that changes in time. It's difficult at the moment because he's still learning himself, but it's one thing I hope does change. If Bruno doesn't play well, someone comes in, plays well, Bruno doesn't come back in. He has to earn his way back in. I'm a big advocate of that.
I think with Ralph as well, I mean, I've seen just people in the comments saying even if Donny comes in as a stormer, he's not going to get picked next game. We're not under Ollie anymore, we're under Ralph. So we've not actually seen Donny come in and have a stormer under Ralph yet and get dropped. He only played in that Young Boys game where it wasn't anything spectacular. So he's not had that chance yet. the Burnley game, I'd be extremely shocked if he doesn't start. So I think he will start, and I think he is going to get that chance. And I think if he proves himself, I think with a manager like Ralph, and especially with the leaks that are coming out at the moment, that he is going to get that chance. But moving on to the leaks, because there wasn't much for pressure. I'm sure some more stuff will come out later, but I mean, we're going to talk about the players' attitude because I've got two of the best people on here to talk about that. And I think we're going to get a lot of good opinions coming from them, strong opinions anyway. And I'm going to start with you first, Jay, with the first quote that we've got, which is, "It is understood that Harry Maguire has been more subdued since Cristiano Ronaldo returned to Manchester United." Before we get started, some of these quotes might be over exaggerated, some of them might not be true, but the fact that there's constant leaks from the club and there's some reliable journalists leaking this stuff as well. It just shows, I mean, what other club has leaks like this? And it's just so embarrassing, not even a month into Ralph Rangnick's reign as manager. But Jay, start us off. Thoughts on that comment?
Okay. Roy Keane famously said these players would throw Josie under the bus. They did. The latter end of Solskjaer's career, I thought this player stopped playing for him, threw him under the bus. And Ralph is not here even a month. And already these players are trying to throw him under the bus, moaning, groaning about training intensity, moaning, groaning that, oh my God, we could drive home in the dark. The poor little babies. Like, this club is infected with players that are either social media divas or cowards. And there is a very, very cowardly backbone in that team. Solskjaer came in and he was lauded because he changed the culture and he changed the philosophy and blah, 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 blah. The culture was changed to arm around the shoulder, empathy, now go out, guys, and freestyle in the pitch. Where the training ground, I don't know what they were doing, but I kind of surmise that it was ring a rosy for warm-ups, doing fucking leapfrogs for plyometrics, and then the lads have a little five-a-side and put some stuff up on Instagram. That seems to be the training methods. And now, all because they have to actually put a shift in. They've had 3 proper training sessions with Ralph. They can put a shift in, and all of a sudden, there's leaks coming out that they're disgruntled. They're not happy. It came out that they're not happy. The seating area was changed in the canteen. So what, lads? You're getting free nutritionally balanced food pre and post training. Be glad of it. You're playing for arguably the most famous club in world football. Be glad to wear the jersey. Be glad you're part of the history and fabric of this club. But no, they're moaning like little school children. And a real fan wouldn't have it. And Harry Maguire is the 80 million flop signed by our flop manager. And now it's a noose around the club because nobody is going to pay him 40 million for Harry Maguire. And as I said previously, does Maguire have in his contract that as long as he's captain, he can't be dropped? Or has Woodward told Ralph, you cannot drop him because he's club captain, because the optics will not look right? The club is more interested in the perception the fans have of them in social media than what happens in the pitch. And it seems to me, I know, Adam, you'll agree with me before you even have your go, I know you will, that the ethos of that club is keep the prima donna players happy at all costs. Keep the shiny, happy, smiley faces up on Instagram and social media at all costs. And whatever happens on the pitch, happens on the pitch, whereby a real football club would have stripped Harry Maguire of the captaincy after his debacle in Greece. But again, real football club. And now it's coming out about Harry Maguire having his nose out of joint about Ronaldo. Harry Maguire, why have you won as a pro? Show me medals. I'm sorry, mate, you don't have any. But you got 4 relegations. So if you were even had some professional pride, some professional courtesy, you would hand the armband to Mr. Ronaldo, who has won absolutely everything that's worth winning the game, bar a World Cup. But of course, Pogba's won a World Cup, and of course, he's the best thing since sliced bread because he won a World Cup, but he hasn't done it for us. So Harry Maguire, unfortunately, guys, we're stuck with him. We are stuck with him. And if he was a real captain, he would be going into that changing room at the first sign of a leak or a player moaning, groaning, and speaking out. And he would sort them out Roy Keane style. But again, unfortunately, cards like that are not in the game anymore. We're stuck with a push like Harry Maguire's club captain.
Do you know what, Jay? I agree with you, and I agree with that super chat as well. The paycheck that these players are on, and the one thing they're expected to do is train and play. It's hilarious that there are players in the world who will give their hearts out for Manchester United. It's their job. And do you know what, Adam? We're going to move into the fact about this whole, they're struggling to adjust to Ralph Rangnick's training sessions, and they were left in the dark at 5 p.m. on Tuesday. This is coming from Chris Wheeler from the Daily Mail. Annoyed about going home in the dark. And just before we get on to that point, I just wanted to make a point here. Roy Keane, when he was captain of Manchester United, and we've had a lot of strong captains in the past, do you think, yes, Cristiano Ronaldo is a big name player, and yes, he is someone that is going to take a lot of charge in the dressing room, and is somebody who a lot of players would be intimidated by, but a real captain of Manchester United would not be intimidated by that. They would take it on, and they would captain him if they were still the captain, and Roy Keane certainly wouldn't bow down to any sort of anything towards that fact. So for me, Harry Maguire being subdued since the arrival of Cristiano Ronaldo, it just shows a lack of confidence in yourself as a captain. And that's and you shouldn't be captain if you're not comfortable captaining any sort of player that there is that's come to Manchester United. And that's just my thoughts on that. But getting into it, Chris Wheeler saying that the players are annoyed about having to drive home in the dark after an intense training session because they're probably used to training just in the mornings and then having the rest of the day off. I don't know what is true and what's false because I don't know the whole schedule of training. But I mean, if this is true, I mean, surely these players shouldn't be playing for Manchester United, surely.
Yeah, to touch on your first point now and what Jay was saying regarding Harry Maguire. I mean, Beth, you've been to games, you've heard language, so I apologise for this and how I'm going to phrase this now, but you're used to this sort of talk. But
I'm used to it all.
Locate your balls, return them to your sack, and act like a captain, you weak-ass man. Seriously, this is why I don't believe this is true. Even for Harry Maguire, I don't believe this is true, honestly. But if that was the case, that's how I would front that. That's how I would come up to him and say, what? I would slap him in the face and say, seriously, you don't belong here, mate. Simple as that. As for the training, I mean, guys, come on. We all know that cars have automatic lights on them now these days. So, you mean, guys, players,
even
the
lights on it.
The lights turn on themselves. It's okay. Yeah, someone will be at the gate to lift the barrier for you still, because you're, prima donna and all that. It's still okay to train at different parts of the day. Do you know what I mean? You play games at 12:30. You play games at 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock. God knows what time on the continent. So why should that change at all? That's why it's changing, because it's getting in the way of your lives off the pitch, which seems to be the important thing these days, doesn't it? I mean, oh my God. I was just like, oh God, cry me a river. For God's sake, it's showing exactly what's going on off the pitch. It's showing on the pitch right now for me. That's what it is. I spoke to Newcastle fans. So I stayed over. And I spoke to some Newcastle fans in the hotel, in the lift. I got stuck in the lift with Newcastle fans.
It couldn't get any worse.
They were that. To be fair, they were nice. They were humble. They were just, and they went. And the one thing that they said to me was, I could not believe how much moaning and whinging and whining and flapping of the hands. It's like what I listened to later from the pundits and everyone saying about all the whinging and stuff. But I didn't hear that at the time. The Newcastle fans were the ones that pretty much were bringing that to the fore for me, and that was the common theme from them. It's like, oh my God, what has happened to your football team? I've never seen such pathetic antics on a football pitch. This is what they were saying. Yeah. Like I said at the start, we literally played in to the only way Newcastle were going to beat us. We fell right into the trap early doors, which was get the crowd up, get that St. James's Park behind that team, and Newcastle will beat anyone because it is a very good atmosphere, but it can also be easy to play against them. If you look at it properly as a player and look at them and go, look, these are not as good as us. Let's just take away that crowd factor and we should be fine today. We didn't. And that week off the pitch mentality, Beth, is showing on it now. And we are an easy team to play against. There is a blueprint to beat Manchester United. And that is exactly how Newcastle played it yesterday. On that training ground, what is going on, I do not. I believe with Jake, I think you nailed it with the Ring of Roses, hopscotch, whatever you want to call it, whatever they're doing. I mean, it's just like, what is going on? And then I seen a post the other day, and it was like one of them social media pictures, winning team, or someone's won a five-a-side pitch. You know what that was? Someone's won a five-a-side game. That took me back to when Ollie said something about Igalo, and he says, "Oh, he scored more than anyone in the five-a-side shoot-up or whatever we had, so he's in form and he didn't play." I'm like, they've still got the Ole mentality in them. It looks like it's going to take a long time to get this out of these players, but you just have to stand up and go, look, it wasn't working before. Maybe I need to show a bit of self-pride here and start doing some things a little bit differently, because manager after manager after manager, do you know what I mean? There's one common denominator. It's this group of players that have failed over the last half decades, which is what you can say for Manchester United standard. They are failures.
I've got a super chat here from Emily Derry. I completely agree with it. Players need to do a week in the lives of the fans they are letting down, understand how much it means to buy a ticket and get to games. Another super chat. The form that De Gea is in right now, he deserved the armband more than anyone in the club. He's been here long and he gives everything all the time. There is a few players that show the professionalism and wear the badge well. There's just not enough, unfortunately. And I mean, there needs to be a massive clear out. The last thing I'm going to say, because we do need to get into transfers, Jay, so just quickly on this as well, I just wanted to read it out, is that apparently the mood at Carrington is said to be very low and concerns over dressing room cliques have not been helped by an upgrade to the canteen that has had a 6 4-seater booths installed. I mean, come on. If you are actually blaming not having a team spirit due to the upgrades to the canteen, then I actually cannot even cope. I mean, who makes this stuff up? I don't understand it. I mean, whoever is the captain there and whoever are the leaders there need to get everyone together. I don't care what it takes, and get this team spirit, because I agree there's a lack of team spirit, a lack of chemistry on the pitch, but something needs to be done about it, and leaders in that dressing room need to take some responsibility.
Beth, look, players are a byproduct of their manager, and we know what kind of manager we had the last 3 years. As I said, it was empathy, arm around the shoulder. Let's have the crack at training, couple of pitches for the gram, and we're all happy, smiley faces. Come in, do 2 hours, mess about, go home and play golf or go on your PlayStation, whatever you're doing. And that was the club. That's what we bottled the final and 3 semi-finals. That was the club. Soft mentality. And now there's a German manager in. I've raced against German riders at World Championships. I've seen them at training camps. I thought my teams were organised. I had Belgian teams, I had Spanish teams, but the Germans were just a whole different level on preparation. They were just different level. I couldn't believe the stuff they were doing. They were way ahead of us. So now we have a manager coming in that his training methods, his philosophy, his mentality is levels above what the players are used to. And I'm of the opinion now that over the summer, any player that does not subscribe to the new regime, get the fuck out. Pardon my friend, it's 2 o'clock in the day, get out. I wouldn't care if Rav played the under-23s for the rest of the season and we finished mid-table. I wouldn't care. Because next year's season then, you have something to build on. Any player that's not on board with the current regime, get out. And moan and groan about going home in the dark at 5 o'clock. Well, boo-hoo, bunch of charlatans. And the canteen, who cares? Who cares? You're getting free food, lads. Who cares?
There's people that have to get up at 6 a.m, work a 12-hour shift, walk home, get the bus for minimum wage. I think it's just ridiculous. I'm hoping these leaks aren't true. I think if they are true, it just shows, the lack of work ethic as people. Come on. You're playing for one of the biggest clubs in the world. These players are clearly the ones that do have this attitude are only here for the paycheck. Anyway, I've got another super chat coming in, and it says apparently Ronaldo disappointed with Rangnick confirmed leak. I've not seen anything around that, and I don't know what to believe, because there's leaks here, there's leaks everywhere. But one thing that has come out through Sky as we've been live, I've just seen it come up now, is that apparently, Adam, go to you first. This is transfer news, that Ronaldo has asked his agent to speak to Xavi to see if Barcelona could get a move there as soon as possible.
Yeah. So, I think that's complete bollocks. Yeah, I do believe that to be complete and utter bollocks. I think that's just, we know what happens when the end of December comes. We know what happens. I've been there. I've seen it up close. That the mainstream media need Manchester United to cover the gaps in between games. They need headlines. They need columns filling. It's just a load of crap. It's for me, Ronaldo's not going to go anywhere. We know when he's going, and he won't leave United for Barcelona. That's like asking Ronaldo to be back to England and going back to Manchester and saying, which club would you rather go to, City or United? You knew it was going to be United. Why would he then go back to Spain and not go back to Madrid ahead of Barcelona? It's a crap story, and it is a load of bollocks, to be honest. That's how I see that one. But just quickly going back, someone nailed it with a comment there. It's like it's a sponsor on our channel. It's perfect for Manchester United, and that's Boohoo Man. That's what.
You know what? A big shout out to Boohoo Man, because to be fair, it is true, and that comment's pretty funny, to be fair. But do you know what? When just a little thing on this Ronaldo news, I agree with you. I think it's bullshit, basically. But when you look at it and you see this news coming out about Ronaldo, one quick thing I want to say is apparently it's Ronaldo that's saying he doesn't want to train. Apparently it's Ronaldo that says he wants to go to Barca, doesn't like Rangnick. That is nonsense, because Ronaldo, as we've heard from a lot of the ex-pros, was there first thing in the morning, leaves last thing at night. He's the ultimate professional, and he will do anything he can to win trophies and get back to the top. So, Jay, I mean we all have a say on this. We can I mean, we can't be 100%, but it is nonsense.
No.
We have to agree because it's come out, but it is not right.
Adam and Beth, there's no saying a paper never refuses ink, and a tweet never refuses a like, or a retweet does it. That's absolute bullshit. Like, Ronaldo is the absolute professionalism personified. We all know the story about when Patrice Evra went to Ronaldo for dinner, and Evra's there looking for the bread and pasta, and Ronald's like, "There's no bread and pasta. I need that crap. We're having chicken and salad." So Ronaldo has his chicken and salad, and then he goes for a swim, comes back, gets changed, and then goes out and is doing more practice in his back garden. That's Ronaldo for you. Yeah. So Ronaldo was here for his last 2 years. He's final swan song. He's a mentality monster. That's what he is. I've said it before 1,000 times about him. He's my ideal athlete. He's a mentality monster. So he's here to win a title, win a Champions League as his final last dance. He's not here to get top four. He's not here for Europa League. And it wasn't what happened under Ole. And I know for a fact that Ron is going to get behind a manager like Ralph, because Ralph is the only manager right now that's capable of bringing success to the club in the next 2 years before he leaves. He doesn't want his career tainted that he came back to United and won nothing. So he's here to win. The problem is the players around him are not winners. It's not in their mentality. And that's the big problem for me, guys.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you. There's another super chat saying he has a rigorous self-style training style himself, and that's just that's true. I mean, it is nonsense, but it's been out in the news, so we were going to cover it. And moving on to something that I'm pretty 100% sure is true, is that Samuel Luckhurst from the MEN has said that Rangnick has told Dean Henderson that he cannot leave Manchester United on loan next month. He's told Henderson he wants 3 first-team ready goalkeepers in his squad, and sources have suggested the pair could end up at loggerheads over this decision. Spurs are monitoring the situation. Adam, is this just another instance that has been caused by, I mean, the lack of truth that was told in the summer about whether players can leave or not?
Yeah. And I put it out on my Instagram. Henderson and the problem right now was caused by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Not getting rid of a player that he should have got rid of in one of De Gea or Henderson, and bringing another goalkeeper through in the summer. This should have been sorted before Ralph came in. The only reason I think that Ralph is clinging on is simply because of the COVID situation. Honestly, this is what I see on it. I think now he's having to take check on what's going on. And you know what? There may be a time, and God forbid, that we lose De Gea now. And we know anyone can catch it. We've seen players like Van Dijk all of a sudden for Liverpool gets COVID, he's out. Certain players, it can be anyone. There's you know what I mean? It's not discriminating against anyone. It'll go and pick anyone it wants, and he could be unlucky. And right now, I actually agree at this time with what Ralph is doing. Whereas before with Ole, he just kept players because he needed everyone. I don't know what it was. And I went in on this in the summer, and one of De Gea or Henderson had to go in the summer simply because of the stupid wage structure for the goalkeepers. But right now, this is none of Ralph's issue. He's dealing with another man's problem that should have been dealt with. But to look at his position now, I would say simply because big games coming up, a lot of games coming up. If you lose De Gea, our player of the season, for a couple of weeks, then he probably is going to need a bit of backup. He needs to make sure because, like I said, Henderson's already been hit with it, I think twice.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who's to say that can't happen to any other one player? So right now, I feel for him in the situation because the Premier League are going ahead. We know he's not happy with games and the amount of games and whatnot, and there's loads of managers going in on that. But for what they can do and what they can influence is how many players actually stay. And I think that's probably that's the angle I would probably take on that one right now. He shouldn't be here. I think he should have gone in the summer. But that's all his issue. Rangnick's issue is COVID and playing so many games. So I can understand why he would tell Henderson that now, because it's like Arteta can't manage the game against City. He's picking anyone, isn't it? How many managers have been missing on the sidelines recently for games? You lose our best player of the season, you are going to need options. So that's probably why I would say I can understand why he's keeping him there for now.
Super chat from Michael Fetty. I'm worried that the managers at our club are limited in power. Seeing Fletcher out there just makes me think the manager isn't the real boss, the board is. I mean, I agree in the sense that I think Pep has total run of City. I think Klopp has total run of Liverpool. I don't think 100%. Our manager has total run of the club, but I mean, it is one of them. I feel like Rangnick does obviously pick his coaching staff, and I think he does have a say over who's on the sidelines and things like that. So it's just as far as you go into it, but it is disappointing that the manager doesn't get the total run of the club. And I would be interested to see how many decisions actually do get taken out of their hands. And do you know what? The club needs to put trust in a manager. I think this is where they've been going wrong for numerous amounts of years. But anyway, Dean Henderson not being allowed to leave, saw it coming, but to be honest, it's not Rangnick's fault. He's just going to put the best for the club first, and it is unfortunate, but it is what it is. I'm sure we will see him depart soon, but I mean, the whole situation's just not been handled very well. Moving on to
just Beth, I just want to sum up the Henderson thing. It's very simple. In professional football, if you're number 2 goalkeeper, that's what you have signed up for. You play if and when the other goalkeeper is injured. And I agree with what Adam's analysis there, that quite possibly Ralph is looking at the possible implication of COVID as season goes on. That's a very good point. It'd be like the backup quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, Cooper Rush, going crying to the media, or Jerry Jones, the owner, when am I getting game time? I should be number 1. No, we signed you as number 2. You play if Dak Prescott gets injured. Otherwise, you're backup. That's it. Henderson is number 2. Stay in your lane, mate. That's it.
Do you not think, though, that Ollie told him he was going to be number 1? Because that's what I think.
But how?
Another manager's problem again, like I said.
Okay. We did a whole show, Beth. I think you're on it. I think we spent about a half an hour, and we worked out there was £26 million a year going out on goalkeeping salaries. And that was a time where it was Henderson, Romero, and De Gea. So it's the mindset of Solskjaer at the time to sign a goalkeeper who's had a decent season with Sheffield United, put him on 140 a week, while David's on 375, and tell him he'll give him game time. It's lunacy. It's lunacy. And Ralph right now, for me, he's doing the right thing. Keep Dean Henderson there until the summer, if in case, God forbid, and we love David, he's our best player right now in form. If God forbid he gets injured, gets COVID, keep Henderson there. Henderson is number 2. Stay in your lane, Dean. That's right now. That's your job. See, summertime, piss off somewhere else.
Exactly. For the amount you're getting paid, you just need to do your job until it's time. There's no need to be falling out over it. I understand the confusion if he did think he was going to be number 1, but do you know what it is? It's different manager now, different kind of mentality when it comes to the amount of good goalkeepers you need to have, and you just do need to respect that. But do you know what it is? What it is, and it's another problem that we've been kind of left with, and that Ralph's got to deal with. Got a super chat here from the Honest Tiger. Hi, I don't think the players are playing for the manager knowing he was going to go in 6 months. Well, the players don't have the right work ethic and the right mentality, then if they're not going to play for a manager, simple as you've got to play for whatever manager's there. Michael Fetty says, if you look at other managers / clubs, they bench players that underperform. We, on the other hand, reward these swear word, with contracts and game time. So, do you know,
Well
he's
done.
not wrong. He's not wrong, because that is
Top
what
man.
happens. And I think that's where we are going wrong. But a player that hasn't been rewarded with game time, which was a common denominator under Ollie, there was a lot of players that didn't get any game time, no matter how well they played, is Axel Tuanzebe, who is now at Villa, struggling to get game time there as well. And apparently that Napoli have started contracts with him and are seeing if they can sign him on loan. Napoli, do you think this is a good move for Axel? Do you think this loan will probably turn into a move? I mean, I don't know if I see him coming back to Manchester United, but I thought he was a decent centre-back to have in the squad and to kind of ease into the squad. But do you think a loan move to Napoli would be good for him right now, Adam and Jay?
I mean, just to... I'm on Yorkshire tea, by the way, Flex, in terms of that super chat. Yorkshire tea bags. Steady on. Anyway, in terms of moves, if you go into it, I mean, we've seen what it did for Smalling. It did sort of revitalise his career and end up turning into a new career for him. I don't think we're ever going to see Axel in the first team of Manchester United. I just feel that's the way it's going. You get a sort of vibe now, don't you? You can usually tell after making a few appearances if someone is actually going to be a mainstay. Not all his own fault. Again, Ole's playing him in the biggest game against PSG away and he plays well, and then we don't see him again. It's disheartening. And you know what? A lot of the time I look at it in the player's perspective and go, I'm probably better actually moving away, because if I'm staying at United, it's going to kill my career. I mean, Donny's lost 2 years of his career, going from Ballon d'Or nominee, Champions League semi-final, to losing 2 years of his career. So you would look at it as a player and go, I'm not really going to get many more opportunities. So I think I'm going to take it. And I think it'll probably be good for him. I think he'll learn the art of defending in Italy more than he will at Manchester United. And he'll probably be coached into a better defender. So maybe see how a loan goes, first of all. See if he does really hit it off and take it from there. But in England, he's not going to play for United. Whether he makes something of himself in Italy and becomes the player that we all thought we were going to see early doors, I do believe he will be a better defender in Italy. And whether he can bring that back to United in the coming seasons, we will see, because the new regime and new structure is in place. And maybe this is something that Ralph upstairs will look at doing with more players. He will look at sending them out, like a sporting director should be, to a club that plays a similar style, or a club that will actually benefit that player for us to then maybe bring back. That's what a sports director does. Not just send them out here, there, everywhere, on loan, wherever, and get absolutely no game time, which we have done in the past. And we've seen it with loads of players. Loans hardly ever work for Manchester United, did it? We send them out and they come back even worse. So, yeah, I'm all for it, Beth. I'd send him there. I think that would be a good move for him, because he is a defender, and I do believe that they pride themselves on that art form of defending. I think it will benefit him, and he might come back having gone there. If he stays in England, he's got no chance.
I mean, this is a player that was touted to be the next Manchester United captain at one point, Jay. Do you think it is important for him to get a move, especially? I mean, we know you're a fan of the Italian league as well. So,
well, Chris Moyes' career went on a renaissance when he moved to Roma. I think it's a great move for Axel. Unfortunately for Axel, he was the right player at the right club under the wrong manager, because he pockets Neymar. And then he's dropped because Lindelof's brought back. But a more astute manager think, hang on a second, I've just had this young kid pocket arguably one of the best players at that time on form in world football. I need to keep him on my side. But no, Solskjaer didn't do that. And Axel was left out for about 3 months. He came back then. I don't remember what game it was. Someone in the comments will know. And he made one mistake, cost the goal. And then we never saw him again. He's put to Villa. So I think, and Adam's spot on, Napoli, great move. Italy, like the connoisseurs of defensive football, the connoisseurs of a proper, organised back four. His career would come on in leaps and bounds. So if I'm his agent, I'm telling him, son, get your ass to Italy. Go. Better food, better women, go.
Jay, you crack me up. Alex Lucas, the super chat is: if United made a shockingly competent move to hire Rangnick, could they make another shockingly competent decision and hire someone like Ten Hag? They could. Whether they will, whether they'll give him full access to the club and allow him to make all the decisions himself, is a different story. So we'll see on that one. Last transfer story of this afternoon is Ralph Rangnick. I mean, Jay, we'll come to you first on this one. It is a very good transfer story to kind of have coming up, and I hope it's true. Any sort of midfielder. Ralph Rangnick wants to bring Hoffenheim defensive midfielder Sami Seiku, I think is how you pronounce it. I'm not too sure. I'm not going to lie. I haven't heard much of him, and hence I'm not too sure on how you pronounce his name, but I think it's Sami Seiku. To Manchester United, Rangnick admires him so much while the player is a big fan of United. This is coming from Nuhu Adams, who is an African journalist. I mean, even though I don't know much about this player, I get excited when I hear the word midfielder. Jay, how important is it that we do sign a midfielder?
Okay, the dogs in the street have been barking for us to sign a CDM for the last 3 seasons. I know nothing whatsoever about this player, so I'm not going to pretend that I do and be caught out by people. And often, guys, people in live chat, sometimes they have knowledge that we don't have. So I'm not going to say I know the player and I don't.
He's a defensive midfielder for Hoffenheim. That's all we know.
Yeah.
If
German league,
we said on previous shows that Ralf Rangnick is going on there 5, 6, 7 players that we have not heard of, and he'll bring them into the club. And they could be ballers. So if this is the first potential baller that Ralph has identified and wants to bring in January, probably for small money, bring it in. I'm all for it. I just want to see the Max Scheidt CDM partnership broken up once and for all. And I don't care if it's a player from the Bundesliga 3rd division or the South America Columbia 4th division. I don't care. I just want to see a partnership broken up once and for all. So if this guy is going to come in, bring him in, sign him up.
I completely agree. I mean, it just shows how desperate we are when any kind of midfielder gets named.
Yeah, anybody, any name at all, but yeah, get him.
Because you think to yourself, you can't have much worse, do you? And super
it can't be worse.
Ryan FTW, anyone else thinks who's been forward into thinking this squad is better than it actually is? Fully believe Ralph will overhaul this squad if he is backed. We'll have to wait and see. I do believe some of the players have a lot more to offer, and I think a sports psychologist is desperately needed at the club, but we'll just have to see. Adam, lastly coming to you, midfielder, do you know much about him for starters? I mean, me and Jay don't know too much, and how important is it? Again, just want to get your stance on that.
Yeah, my stance has always been the same. It pains me to say it, but I just don't. I know you're all going to hate me for it. I would rather wait. I would wait unless it was the perfect man for the role, because if we buy him now, I do believe we need 2 midfielders, by the way.
Yeah, we do.
So
yeah.
I can get on board with one coming in, that actual master of his art in that role, like a Makalele, a Kante, that specific player just does that, stays there, does his job, see you later, forget Haaland, then go and get Bellingham. That's how I would approach it. That's my midfield right there. Someone like an 8 for Bellingham in that role, but you do still need to get that. You need to get that dark arts man in there. That
perfect 6.
You know what? It's like Herrera doing things now at PSG with all them superstars. It pains me. And people didn't rate him. I know, I understand that, but he still did his job better than anyone we've seen do over the last decade for Manchester United in that form. He is what he is. He's that destroyer. I do believe that it's the combo signing. We do need that one, but we do need one more. The big name isn't going to come this January. I'm pretty confident of that. No. Let's hope that comes in the summer, and hopefully he'll get the chance to bring 2 in. Because I can see Matic definitely going in the summer. So I think, yeah, I can get on board with you both and say, look, there is that player that can come in, that one we don't know, that unknown, which I'm not against, as long as Rangnick knows what he's buying.
Kante came to Leicester and look at what he's done. So there is always these players.
And now we've got the man who knows German football. So a player playing in German football and his contacts there, his links to that league, definitely. I would go with that as long as Ralph I would trust Ralph to pick the right player, but I still want another midfielder in the summer. And one for Ricky, just before we leave, Mata rumoured to be going Sociedad on a free transfer. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, and do you know what? Slowly, each of his players are getting phased and phased out. Martial's off, Mata's off, Mattis in the summer. I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know what he's going to do.
He's got his. I spoke to him after yesterday. We had a good long conversation. He's got his standing players. The next line of Ricky players to come in that he loves.
Johnny Sancho.
Yep, Johnny Sancho.
Hello.
To be honest, well, yeah, no, I'm not against any of them three. I think they should all be playing.
So we're on the same page for once, maybe.
That's going to be boring now.
I know he needs to find someone else. But last couple of super chats. Alec Dukas says McTominay's a Scottish Fellaini. Don't disrespect Fellaini like that, all right? And the next super chat is, but Jay, I'll let you have a say on this in a sec. Next super chat is MVP, not just a CDM, but we need a midfield general that will lead the team, even captain that runs more passes, more tackles, more than anyone else. Don't disagree. Jay, did you have something to say about the Fellaini thing?
I'd take Fellaini over Tommy right now. That's how shite McTominay is.
I tell you what, no one brought a ball down out of the air like Mauro and Fellaini did. That's one thing that man did.
The best chest in world football.
Wow, yeah, honestly, I've never seen anyone. Berbatov, probably more, but what Berbatov did with football was beyond belief in terms of close control. But a ball in the air, my God, Fellaini was good at that. I will give him that.
Yeah.
He scored a few decent goals for us as well.
Important goals.
Important ones.
And also, people, I know Fellaini was limited in his passing range and his passing ability. Yes, fine, but he was a threat in the box. When Fellaini won a header in the box, more often than not, it went on target. How many headers has Maguire won from a corner kick that have gotten target?
I don't want to know.
Thirdly,
Matt made that point the other day. Yeah.
And thirdly, Fellaini, when it came to tackling and putting himself about, he was never found wanting. He was a proper thug on the pitch. So I know he has detractors. I wasn't a big fan of him, but based on what we have now, he was levels above, and that's saying a lot, guys.
And you know what? Ultimately, we need some players that are going to come in and give what previous players won. I mean, it's not even just like the results and the winning games. It's the attitude, the mentality, giving everything on the pitch. And I think, as we've all discussed today, Ralph has got a big job on his hands. Anyway, there will be a fan forum back at 8 p.m. We've got more stuff coming up. Is the Burnley preview? The Burnley preview's definitely been out by now. And yeah, we've got a match to look forward to tomorrow. Hopefully, we get the win and we get back to winning ways and we don't play awful football, but we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, Adam, thanks for being on the show.
Always great numbers today, people. Don't forget to give video a like as well. Fantastic. Pleasure to be on.
Like and subscribe as always. And Jay, thank you for your strong opinions as always.
Pleasure, Beth, as always. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Always welcome. And we've had a great show. And thank you guys as well for pitching in with the super chat. Just another one saying, LG Snooker saying ended in the summer. We can all hope and wish. But anyway, thank you guys for being with us on the show today, and we'll see you all later.